Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 11, text 16. Aneka bahu daravaktra netram pashyami tvam sarvato nantarupam nantam na madhyam na punastavadim pashyami vishveshvara vishvarupa. We'll do the 17th also. Kiritinam gadinam chakrinam cha tejo rasim sarvato diptimantam pashyami tvam durnirishyam samantad diptanalarkadyutim aprameyam. So Arjuna, he's praying, he's praising this form, describing this form. Aneka bahu udara vaktra netram. This form has many bahu arms, udara bellies, vaktra mouths, netram eyes, pashyami I see, and sarvataha anantarupam, on all sides it is expanded in unlimited forms. Anantarupam sarvataha na antam na madhyam na punah tava adim. There is no end, there is no middle, there is no beginning to this. Pashyami Vishveshwara Vishvarupa. O Vishveshwara, O Lord of the universe. O Vishvarupa, O Lord who appeared in the form of the universe. I see all this. So Krishna is unlimited. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So through him, everything could be seen. So this is Arjuna's way of expressing this. And Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvataha Panipadam Tat Sarvatokshi Shiromukham Sarvataha Shrutimalloke Sarvam Avritya Tishtati. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes. He's expanded everywhere. But at the same time, he has a personal presence also. He is there in his personal form in Goloka Vrindavan, enjoying his pastimes. But by his energy, he is spread everywhere. He is conscious of everything. That is God. And the next verse, Arjuna says, Kiritinam Gadinam Chakrinam Ja. Your form is adorned with kiriti, helmets. Kiritinam, helmets. Gadinam, maces, the clubs. Chakrinam, the discs. Kiritinam Gadinam Chakrinam Cha. Tejo Rasim Sarvato Deeptimantam. Everywhere, Sarvataha Tejo Rasim Deeptimantam. Your effulgence, there is a glowing effulgence everywhere on all sides. Pashyami, I see. And to see you like this is Durnirikshyam Samantat. Durnirikshyam means very difficult. Very difficult to see because of this effulgence that is spread. Samantat everywhere. And Deeptanalarka Dyutim Aprameyam. Your Dyuti means the illumination or shine. Like that's why in India, in Hindi we call Vidyut, or in local languages also there is. Vidyut means electricity. Dyuti means sunshine, illumination. So your illumination is like Arkadyutim, which is immeasurable, Aprameyam, like the sun's shine. So because of which he is not able to see clearly. So this is another thing that comes in Bhagavad Gita, in other scriptures, that to perceive God clearly is not easy. To understand God clearly is not easy. Krishna himself says in 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Naham prakashah sarvasya yogamaya samavritaha. I am not exhibited to anyone and everyone as I am, because I am covered by my yogamaya. In Isopanishad also, the devotee prays to the Lord. Hiranmayena patrena satyasya pihitam mukham tatvam pushan apavrunu satya dharmaya drishtaye. So he says, the devotee prays, O Lord, you are covered by your Hiranmayena Patrena. Patra means a veil, a covering, like a golden effulgence that is covering the Lord. Please remove that effulgence and exhibit yourself before me. Otherwise, we will not be able to understand Krishna as a person. We will only think God is some light, some impersonal effulgence, like how the Mayavadis, the impersonalists, they conclude, oh, God is, there is no person God, there is only impersonal effulgence. This majestic nature with its beauty, the order, the laws of nature, the time factor, Kala, this magnificent universe, all these are considered impersonal aspects of Krishna. So much so that people conclude that this is all ultimately there is. There is nothing like a person in control. So there was a group of people who were driving, taking a drive, adventurous drive. In spite of warning, they ventured on top of a mountain, a thick jungle, and they were going through, finding their way and finding the adventurous ride. And suddenly, their car broke down, and they were all panicking. Oh my God, the car broke down. What can we do? Somebody got down and tried to repair it, but they said no, it cannot be repaired easily. And there is nothing that they can find nearby. Nobody is there. And he immediately heard some wild creatures crying, roaring, and immediately he got into the car. And everybody else is panicking, shivering. But there is one devotee inside the car. He says, don't worry, God is in control, Krishna is in control. And then they start to chastise him, yell at him. What do you mean? You know, don't you understand the situation we are in? Do something about it instead of praying. And then suddenly they hear a thunderstorm. It gets even more murkier and even more precarious. And on top of that, they hear a huge cracking sound, and that's a landslide. They're in the middle of a landslide and a thunderstorm, and in the thick jungle surrounded by the wild creatures. Everybody is shouting, and then this devotee is praying, Krishna, please protect, Krishna, please protect, like that. And they're getting mad at him. And then the car is being wrecked by the landslide. And then everybody is shouting and closing their eyes. And then within 5 minutes, the landslide has perturbed the car and shaken it. And eventually, the landslide is done. And they thought they all died. And they opened their eyes. The landslide is calm. And to their surprise, they saw that the car has been pushed because of that landslide, the top of the mountain, that particular land portion where the car is there. It has been slid and it came and halted exactly at the roadside. And much to their relief, and they got out and they were struck with wonder how it could have happened. And they saw these cars going by, and then they stopped these cars, and they were very thankful how they were saved. And then this devotee was saying, see, Krishna saved all of us. There was no way that we could have been saved otherwise. And then the other people, they were still saying, yelling at him, see, it is completely by luck because of, somehow or the other, we were stuck in the landslide, and by luck, we were saved like this. Don't attribute it to God. It is random. It is nature. It is in nature's control. So you see how these people, some people, they always attribute everything to nature. They cannot understand that there is a person behind nature. Like, for example, I saw a video where there was this boy, he was playing with an ant, little bigger ants there are. So, what he was doing, he was taking a chalk piece, the white chalk piece we write on the board, blackboard. So, he drew a circle, a strong circle around that ant. And so, this ant, he was confused. The ant was going near that line, and he was going around that line but not crossing it. And the ant was pretty confused, and it was in chaos, anxiety. And then somehow his mother came and said, what are you doing? And then she put some water and then rubbed away that chalk. And then the ant found its way and went out. So, from an ant's perspective, the ant does not have an iota of an idea that there is some person who is drawing this, who is making its life difficult, who is in control of what is happening to him. It's completely incomprehensible to an ant. So, for a person like an ant, it is incomprehensible to see God's hand in everything that is happening around us. To imagine that God can control the entire nature. What we are undergoing is not random, is not something that is happening accidentally. Krishna himself confirms in Bhagavad Gita, Mayadhyakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagadviparivartate. This whole material nature, Prakriti, is being superintended by the Supreme Lord. Mayadhyakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam. So to think that it is happening randomly and accidentally, this whole gigantic planetary systems are working so brilliantly, producing energy and producing order, and physics are there by which we are able to take advantage of, isn't it? Without physics, we won't be able to construct, we won't be able to develop so much of advancement. That means we have confidence that the law of nature won't fail. There is gravity that will work, there is thermodynamics that will work, there is general relativity that will work. There is so much of science that works perfectly. How is it working if it is all random? So that shows that there is a brain, there is a controller. So that is why only a devotee can understand, only a fortunate person can understand there is a person God. It's not impersonal. So, why does Krishna make it so difficult to understand his personal aspect? One may ask the question. Because people don't want to understand him as a person. People don't want to surrender to him. People are so envious of him. Krishna himself came, for that matter, 5,000 years ago, isn't it? How many of them surrendered to Krishna, recognized him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Not many. Even though he was there in person, Duryodhana and these Kauravas, they never recognized Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And many others. Only a handful of devotees, they could understand Krishna. Shishupala and all, they thought, oh, here is just an ordinary man, lusty boy, lusty man. Maybe he knows some tricks. So people are envious. They don't want to surrender to God. They want to be themselves God. So Krishna also, ye yadha mam prapadyante tam tadhaiva bhajamyaham. Okay, if you want to not surrender, okay, you go your way. I will make you even more staunch believer of atheism. I will make you even staunch believer of impersonalism. It is that mentality that we don't want to surrender to somebody. That mentality is what makes us believe that there is no person God. And so Krishna covers their knowledge with this effulgence. Yogamaya, Mahamaya. Krishna does not want people who are not serious, who are envious, to come into his realm of personal service, personal associates, personal abode, because they will only create disturbance with their enviousness. So Krishna will make them repel more and more. Only those who are sincere and serious, those who are willing to surrender, accept person God, after thorough testing, they are released into the personal association of the Lord. That is why you go to these pilgrimage places, they seem so mundane and so unclean, and people, ordinary people, they get repulsed. What kind of place is this? So Krishna makes it a high bar to cross so that they are thoroughly tested whether they have that surrendering mood, attitude, the mood of affection and love, and not enviousness. That's why the devotee prays fervently. Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukham. My Lord, your face is covered. Please remove that effulgence. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a pastime where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is performing Harinam Sankirtan. He used to perform Harinam Sankirtan with very special set of devotees every night, throughout the night. They would sing and dance in ecstasy in the house of Srivas Thakur, another great devotee. And the news has spread that such a special activity is happening. And so there was this one Brahmana who wanted to witness that nectarian activity. And so he came to request Srivas Thakur, can I please one day for some time witness this wonderful Harinam Sankirtana? And Srivas Thakur said, no, 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 the Lord does not allow anybody unless he's a very confident, he's a confidential servant. And he said, no, 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 I'm very austere. I'm a strict vegetarian. I only drink milk and eat fruits. To that level, I am austere. Somehow or other, he pleads Srivas Thakur. And Srivas Thakur says, okay, for some time, I'm allowing you, but you hide yourself in this place and witness this. So he goes there and hides, and the Lord starts the Sankirtana, and slowly it is going up, and it's becoming roaring thunderous. But The Lord suddenly stops in between and he says, "Today I don't feel the rasa. Something is lacking. It seems like there is an intruder." Yeah, it's natural, right? If you are at home, you're natural. If somebody is watching you, you won't feel natural. You won't act natural. Something is blocking you. You won't express yourself fully. So the same thing happened with the Lord. And somebody must have intruded. And then Srivas Thakur, he admits, "Yes, my Lord, there is this Brahmana." He calls this Brahmana, and this Brahmana is shivering. This Brahmana is very austere. He only drinks milk. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu starts to chastise him. Do you think God can be realized just by drinking milk or by undergoing some austerity of your own? No. Krishna can be realized only when you please a pure devotee with your service attitude, with your surrendering spirit. And then this Brahmana accepts this chastisement, and the Lord is pleased with him and he blesses him. How one should progress in devotional service. So, by material austerity or by one's advanced knowledge, like these impersonalist scholars, they try to study the Vedanta with their own mental speculation. They cannot understand God. They'll conclude, or rather misconclude, that God is impersonal. So in 1977, there was one devotee who, along with another devotee, they were distributing books. And they came across a little building with a Bengali signboard saying that this is a marriage registration officer. And the officer was Mr. Chatterjee. He worked there. And so the devotee said, "Oh, here is a Bengali. So let's try to talk to him. This is our movement is started in Bengal, West Bengal. So he must be favorable. Let's go there and give him a magazine, back to Godhead." So they went inside that and they found that Mr. Chatterjee, they greeted him and gave him the magazine. And then, to their surprise, he said, "Do you know your spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada? He was himself distributing these magazines and he stayed in this place." It seems Prabhupada actually stayed in that place and he was known to Mr. Chatterjee. He showed around the house. This is where Prabhupada used to sit, this is where he used to cook, and so on and so forth. And he brought the Bhagavatam edition that Prabhupada gave. And inside that Bhagavatam edition, there were some translations underlined about the Lord's personal form. So this Mr. Chatterjee, he said he was a follower of some other famous Indian spiritual path, according to which they say that there is no person God, it is all impersonal. Ultimately, it is impersonal Brahma Jyoti. But they perform Vedic yagnas, chant the Vedic verses, and all of that. But they don't believe in deity worship, nor in person God. So, and then Prabhupada, he was teaching to, and then he was saying that in public, are, they follow this, whatever spiritual path to satisfy their spiritual gurus. But in private, they have affinity to worshipping the deities. So they put these deities at home and worship. But because of that confusion, he didn't get any satisfaction from any of these processes. He admits that. And then he admitted that Prabhupada personally tried to preach to him many times. But because my mind was so contaminated, Prabhupada used to tell him, "You are not experiencing satisfaction because you think the Lord is impersonal. And because of that preaching, eventually he became a personalist. And then he started to worship Radha Krishna deities. And then Prabhupada used to, put his daughter on his lap and feed her the rice that he had cooked. And then he used to tell his daughter that, just take prasadam and worship Supreme Lord Krishna. Don't worry about anything your father says. And and then the daughter came and said, yes, yes, I was always a personalist. I was always a devotee. I was always happy. My father was always frustrated. But now he's also come back to this and he also found his ultimate thing. So ultimately, our nature is that we want a relation. We want a personal relation. And for lack of understanding God as a person, we impose that relation with relations of this material world who are temporary on the bodily platform, which are subject to um, going away, getting lost, or will result in distress. But instead, if we repose that same loving relation with Krishna, the Supreme Person, then that becomes the source of our liberation. I'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments? Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.